Good morning, I'm Sunetra Choudhury, political editor of Hindustan Times, bringing you all that you need to know about COVID-19 on Thursday, the 7th of May. First up, a look at the numbers. There are now almost 53,000 COVID-19 cases across the country. The number of people that have died is more than 1,700. Now, if you look at the trend of cases, and that is our top story, you will see that most of these cases are concentrated in urban cities. So for instance, Mumbai has 10,000 of the 53,000 cases, Delhi has 5,000 cases. And if you look at it state-wise, then there are 6 states which are leading to this high number of cases. However, if you look at it, the rest of India may be doing quite well, but there are new hotspots coming up all the time, which is why authorities and all of us have to be wary, have to be responsible. For instance, there are now spikes in Punjab, in Haryana, and authorities say now that stranded Indians from abroad are being brought back, cases are expected to rise even more. So that's something to keep in mind. The second story that we have for you is that of fuel prices. Now, in places like Delhi, we have seen a rise, even though globally numbers and fuel prices have really slumped. So the basic price of fuel in a place like Delhi is actually less than 20 rupees. But how are we paying more than 70 rupees? Well, that's because the government, the center and the state has levied taxes up to 47 rupees. Now, how much is expected for the government to earn from all of this? Well, according to our calculations, 1.2 lakh crores is what they're expected to get from this extra levy that they are charging all of us. And at a time when they're strapped for cash, this seems to be an easy way to earn some cash. The third story that we have for you is this fascinating story about what happened to 2 Indian people who stowed themselves away on a plane that was supposed to take Zambians that were stuck in India back home. Now, what happened was a chartered plane was hired and Ministry of Home Affairs gave permission to Zambian authorities to take their nationals back. When the plane landed over here, it was a private charter plane that came in from Muscat. They found 2 Indians on it, a businessman called Rajesh Gupta and his cook. It seems that Mr. Gupta had gone to Zambia for work. He had an apartment over there where he also kept a cook. And so when the lockdown happened and he didn't make it back in time, he convinced Zambian authorities to let him get on this plane. However, Indian authorities were very clear there was no such permission. He wasn't supposed to be on board. So after a wait of 9 hours on the tarmac, where he refused to go, he was finally surrounded by a quick response team, rapid response team, and was put on the plane all the way back to Zambia. It was a 27-hour flight which he had taken, but perhaps it came to naught. So that's a story we may see more reactions to that in the coming days. The next story that we have for you is the story of the helplines that the government is running for various people, especially laborers and migrant workers. Well, it seems that ever since that helpline was started in mid-April, they have received more than 10,000 calls. And if you want to read Hindustan Times, it will tell you exactly what kind of calls there were. Primarily, they were about running out of money, running out of food. But interestingly, there also seems to be a new trend where many people called up to say that they needed more money for their mobile phones. It seems in this day and age, communication is also an essential supply. They needed that money so that they could be in touch with their families while they were stranded. Of course, in the last couple of days, they've also been asking how they can get themselves a seat on those trains which are taking people back home. And finally, this is something that has been written about in scientific journals, but the latest study in the UK and a scientific journal there suggests that if you have a loss of taste or a loss of smell, then you have to urgently get in touch with authorities, try and get tested, and definitely isolate yourself, because according to that journal, if you have that, then there is a chance this is one of the symptoms of COVID-19, and you're also much likelier to be hospitalized to have severe symptoms if you're showing a lack of smell and a lack of taste. So Heed that advice, keep it in mind, and that's all the news that we have for now. Keep tracking them on hindustantimes.com.